warm March weather has made it a bit tempting to get out and start planting, but hopefully hold off as another cold front heads our way this week. Our lawn and garden expert John Fech joining us now. John, it can be hard to determine when is the best time to start planting, so you have some advice for us.
I do, and a lot of it has to do with the meteorology department. We've had such weather variability, and maybe by the calendar or by our spring fever clock in our head, you might be thinking about planting some things. And also, you know, we have this traditional planting potatoes on St. Patrick's Day and that kind of thing. But none of these plants do well in cold, wet soil. And just listening to Brad over here not too long ago, it sounds like that's what we're going to be having.
I know.
So maybe once we get a little bit more settled, you can start into some of the traditional things and let that be part of your landscape.
So you kind of have a breakdown of when to start considering planting what?
Well, they're really sort of by category, and there are about 5 different categories of plants, and we have them grouped along with sort of this commonality of how well they tolerate those cold, wet soils. And these leafy vegetables, like you see on the screen right now, are really part of that. You know, the mustard, spinach, lettuce. Onions are pretty cold tolerant, so they work okay. Turnips and parsnips would be in that same category. And then for people who really like pretty plants, the sign of early spring are the pansies and the violas. Then once we get in and we transition into early April, the cole crops, C-O-L-E crops, the broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, those really do a nice job. And then we can start getting into the potatoes. But boy, it's just really hard to put things in cold, wet soil. So once we get 4 or 5 days of 70 degrees, and we get some real consistency to it, then you can go ahead and start using these charts that you see on the screen as a good guideline.
All right, and we've got one final one coming up there, mid-April. That's when you can kind of look to start those two.
Yeah, those two, and you can really get into that. Or you do a more conservative approach and wait for mid-April for all those things.
Yeah,
and
play
that
the safe side,
right? Be in good shape, yeah.
Couple viewer questions for you now. Mike says, our grass is still brown and the neighbor's is already turning green. It's bothering his wife. Should they water?
I don't get into marital disputes, but I think the rain that we're going to be getting and maybe some of the slushy material we're going to be getting will really improve this particular landscape. And then if it doesn't give you the exact results you're looking for, about a month from now, maybe mid-April, 3rd week in April, then that's the first time to go ahead and start fertilizing.
Okay.
So we're a little bit ahead of that, but between the two, that's probably what's causing the most of the problem there.
All right, one more quick one. Zach wants to know when the best time is to seed bare spots.
They don't like wet, they don't like cold, wet soils there either. So typically, once we start to get up soil temperatures in the early 50s, in the low 50s, on a consistent basis, 3 or 4 days in a row. And again, that's usually around tax time. Usually it's around April 15th.
Hold off. Be patient. It's coming. All right.
But in the meantime, you could do pansies and violas. That would be something you could put in containers, and that might help to scratch that, that itch that you have.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, John. We always appreciate you coming on.